I first came across this, the plan for this 25 years ago, and I saw the drawing on the wall of the building up there. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is a special needs unit in Carlow. I think there's 17 or 18 individual gardens, all different themes. And what we've created here is actually, you could say my art is in here, but really the whole garden is a work of art. And I've grown with the gardens, and I've been inspired by it. And it's just a symbiotic relationship between me and the gardens. And any sculptures I've made here, I've made in response to the gardens themselves. You'll see big stone herrings down by the pond, and that's because herrings land there all the time and are after our fish. You'll see the sculptures in the sculpture garden. They're not made individually like you would in a gallery, or if somebody just bought them. They're made with the garden in mind, and they look like they're growing out of the ground in that particular space. But anyway, this is an industrial estate, and when people come to visit, it's the last thing they expect, because it's warehouses and stuff. But it almost adds to the experience in that you have this pretty, beautiful gem full of flowers and roses in the middle of a kind of an ugly vista. So,
but you don't really see.
You don't see. It's completely screened off, and it's a lovely, safe place for people with special needs, and anybody really. We get gardening groups, weddings, active retirement, obviously different types of special need groups that come in from anywhere within an hour of Carlow.
Yeah. And you have a lovely cafe, and you have
we do.
A garden centre. People can buy plants.
Yeah. And it's changing all the time. We used to have more plants for sale, but I hear recently now there's an 100,000 investment going in at the front of the cafe for more plants and stuff down there.
All right. Yeah.
The cafe itself came from a donation of a couple of 100,000 from the local auctioneer. The gardens themselves were built from donations, and so I did the stone sculptures, and it was Stone Developments, were a quarry not far from here, and they gave us 30 tonne of good quality limestone that they just put out in the field there and let me loose at it.
Fantastic.
And I could just come up with my own designs, and which is why I'm still here after all these years. I'm so involved with the place, and it's a lovely place to work. And another thing is, I was thinking about is that artists work by themselves a lot of times in studios, and you know that, Alan. You interview them, and it's not easy. And I just love coming in here, having a cup of tea, and chatting to the lads about ordinary things like football and stuff like that. And it's not easy being in a studio all day long. It's just very hard on your mental health and all that. So I have a studio down there, and I can work away for a couple of hours. Come in, have a toilet there, kettles, have a cup of tea, refresh my head, and go back out if I want. And that's how I was able to work 5 days a week here. You know, Christmas time there'd be hundreds of kids around the place. We put lights all over the trees, and there'd be music playing and treasure hunts. So we have that, and we have the Easter bunny. Halloween, put ghosts all over the place, scary music. We do the Carlow Garden Festival.
All right.
So that goes on for about a week or more, and there's 3 talks a day in all the gardens. It's not just here. I think we have Fanula Fallon this year. So people like Monty Don and the big shots from the BBC come over. This is a bit like a seed pod. It's made out of 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. Again, I'm working off offcuts that the quarry gave us, and so each of these were blocks of stone that were just shaped and placed into each other.
And would you have done that down in your studio here?
At the back of the wall.
The back,
that's where I had all the blocks of stone, limestone, and I'd been creating a lot of noise and dust now here for a good few years.
And what stone did you say that is?
It's local limestone.
Limestone.
Or some people call it Kilkenny marble.
Ah, yes.
But there's a ridge overlooking the Barrow Valley, and there's a couple of quarries working it down around Paulstown and further down, I think. Stradbally, they get their limestone from down around the King's River, down around in Kilkenny. Yeah. And it comes from an ancient... So that ridge, it's interesting, that ridge is solid limestone. And that's what's left after what they call a glacier has gone through the Barrow Valley and left the stone on either side.
Oh, right.
And so this is from 500 million years ago. There's you'll see fossils in the stone.
Yes.
And you'll see oysters and stuff like that, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Now, again, because it's a special needs unit and we get a lot of autistic kids and adults as well, we do spend a lot of time repairing stuff. So this one has been knocked over at least 2 or 3 times, and it actually was bigger.
How would you repair something like that?
You can see the cracks in it. Just cut it off and grind down. Say the front broke off,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
that kind of thing. Like, and then put a bit more cement underneath it, making sure that they'll just come along and do this to it. But it's part of it. Like, I mean, I'll show you other broken ones. But I'm not precious about things. You know, you'll see a garden clippers on the wall here. I've had to make 4 of them. And you'll see, this is lovely now for a wedding to come through. So Alan, there's lovely roses here. They're, as far as I know, they're country roses. Beautiful smell of them. And as I said, we get weddings and you can see a bride and groom coming through here. So what we have in this garden is, there's picnic benches. There's some sculptures on tops of the walls. You can see the hammer and nail there. This is the limestone I was talking about. This is more examples of the limestone. You can see there's games. This is the games garden. So you'll see there's drafts. There's a snakes and ladders set over here. Here's a stone garden shears, and you can actually see the fossils. That's coral from an ancient sea. I think it was called the Iapetus Sea. And again, I said I've had to make a few of these because of people doing this.
But does it actually work?
Trying to lift. No, it's a bit loose.
Yeah.
No, that's it. No. And if you follow me now, you can see we're leading on into the sculpture garden. And over our heads, lots of wisteria, but they're not out in flower yet. Again, you get the sense that you're coming into rooms, outdoor rooms, and these are like entrances into the room. So they're like portals. You've gone through all these archways, and they're shielding you and giving you the sense of leaving one space, and they're also breaking up breaking up the different spaces. But that's what I think we've created here. Like, there's all different garden designers have been involved in this. As I said, Gordon Ledbetter was the overall designer, and then there's been other designers have got involved. Like, there's a couple of Chelsea medal winners have designed some of the gardens, and Chelsea's on at the moment, so that's kind of relevant. Paul Martin, Mary Reynolds, they've won loads of medals in Chelsea. And some of these are the original gardens. These were some of the first ones we built. But as I said, we didn't have much money, and we did a lot of recycling. You can actually see.
So point out the ones that you've done, Bob, will you?
I've done all these.
Oh, all of them?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well then go through them individually and show.
Yeah, well, this is like the different stages of a pea falling over. And actually, this one was knocked over by a couple of teenagers there a few weeks ago. Originally, it was standing. You can see it's after breaking.
Yes.
But I don't mind. I leave it. Again, this is the interactive thing. You probably wouldn't get away with such interaction with sculptures in anywhere else. And I've had to repair multiples. I've seen kids climbing up on top of these, like sitting right up on the top of them. These all have been knocked over at various stages, and like just either glue them on, make new pieces. People thought that was a rocking chair, and I've had to fix this. You can see where they've been. I've had to cut them and put new bars into them again. All the shapes are organic shapes. They look like they could be grown out of the ground, or else they're the fruit of some huge tree. You can see this one here. I had a load of blocks. As I said, I was using offcuts, and you can see I've assembled a whole load of blocks. You can see the lines on them, and I've made a piece out of it. Like, it's not bad. It's kind of it's a nice flowing feminine shape. And sometimes a real board will sit on top of the other board.
I'm
and
sure.
You poo on top of it. I always had an interest in holy wells. When I was in art college, I used to do a lot of stone. My original interest was, I came through NCAD, and I did glass, and I combined stone and glass when I was there, and I got an interest in holy wells, and so this is like a holy well. Yeah. But again, the interactive thing, I regularly have to clean out the stones in there because the kids come along. There is something about kids throwing stones into water.
Yes.
And they just fill it up. And some people think it looks like a tire. So much for the...
You wouldn't want to be too sensitive, would you?
No, you wouldn't. No, and I'm not.
No.
I'm not precious, you know.
Yes.
I actually like to see people interacting. So you'll see lots of sculptures like this as well, just casually. But there's lots of things. Like, this is what's great about the garden, is there's surprises all over the place. And so that, again, I was just at a block of stone and said, what can I do with this? It looks like, I was just talking about nests there a minute ago. It looks like a nest.
It sure does.
A vertical nest.
Yeah.
And the egg. And of course you could probably get people trying to pull it. Stick their hands in the wall. Sometimes I joke there's a river behind that wall there.
Yes.
And this is the water flowing in through it.
Ah, yeah, nice. I like that.
Now we actually have our own wells, and there's a pump down there.
Oh yeah, I got
Just in case anybody watching thinks there's actual. I was actually in a garden in Italy. It's in the hills above Rome, and they basically built. They ran a lake through the garden and out the far side. It's built in about 300 years ago, and the fountains are, 50 foot high, hundreds of them with water coming out of the mouths of the animals and everything. But there's no electricity. It's all just the head of water that's coming forcing it through, like huge waterfalls. And it was owned by some bishop, I think. It was a bishop's palace. It's owned by the Italian government now, but yeah, that's one of the best gardens I've ever seen. But, so this garden here now will change as the summer goes on, and you can see the dahlias are all coming up now, and it's a real sun trap. So they call it the Mediterranean garden. I think they make up the names, but
You've nothing to do with them now.
no. You have a lovely vista here now of roses as you walk through here. And you can see now the roses are starting to come out there. There's another one of my sculptures there. It's about to cut that rose, I think. We had problems with the hedges and a couple of years ago. There was a thing called box blight that was destroying box hedges all over Europe. But so this is Euronymous now. It's been replaced, and we're hoping this will take off. So this guy, we had a digger in here 2 or 3 years ago, and we had to take everything up and start again.
And can you talk about the circular sculpture?
I can. If you come in here now, I'll show you. There's another sculpture in the corner there, a bit like an urchin.
Yes.
So this would have come from the Chelsea Flower Show.
Okay.
And so did the A-frame. If you swing around there, you'll see that tree house over there. And originally there was water underneath it. And you see there's a sedum growing on the roof of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the theme behind that was something to do with homelessness in London. And there used to be bean bags inside it. And as I said, there was water underneath it. And but nowadays we don't really let people up in there because of health and safety. But as I said, at Christmas or on Halloween, we'd have a speaker out there blasting out music out of it, just to create the atmosphere. We're always trying to create an atmosphere and then an environment in the places.
Yes.
And as I said, like each garden is like a room, and that you can play with, which is lovely. And there's about 6 or 7 of us there all the time, and we have volunteers as well.
So you were telling us about this?
Oh yeah, I was telling you about this. Yeah, I was saying. Well, this is actually it's like a sundial. It's a bit like Newgrange. And at 12 o'clock the light comes through over here. There's actually a little glass disc with the light comes through, and it should shine on whatever month it is at 12 o'clock. And so when the sun is high in the sky, it comes down to June and July. And in the winter time, it's just the sun is barely over that water tower over there, and it just shines in at an angle to January and December. So you see the water tower?
I do, yeah.
You do. And then the other thing that's interesting about it, for some strange reason, every time people come here, they all want to do this. Is there something to do with Michelangelo, is it?
Yeah. I think so.
And then the other thing that catches people's attention is the water that doesn't fall off. It's running around on the outside, but it doesn't fall off.
Yep.
So some school kids come up with the idea that it might be magnetic water.
Yes.
So these are actually pipes that go up along the outside, and then there's a little reservoir there, and the water just falls back down. I often say to it, it's like your granny's milk jug that when you went to pour the milk, it caught and runs down and you end up with a ring of milk on the bottom on the table. But if you do it quick enough, you won't have that problem. And if you increase the volume, it'll just drop. There's one other sculpture in the corner there. It's a bit like a sea urchin with seeds. I'm big into sculptures that look like they might have seeds in them. Of different pieces of timber all laminated together, and I also was careful not to touch the ground.
Yes.
Because we have terrible trouble with timber in the gardens. Any timber that we would have put in 20 years ago is rotten now, or we've had to replace it. Like if we were starting again now, I'd have metal everywhere, metal or stone.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
The main avenue was laid out by a guy called Paul Martin, who is also a multi medal winner in Chelsea as well, and he has another garden now in the end. You'll see it was in bloom. You see the alliums are coming up now, and
they are. Yeah.
When at the time he was doing the planting, he was very aware of the water charges that were coming in, and he was advising people on how to plant so that you wouldn't have to be watering all the time. And he's also very aware of the ultraviolet lights that attracts the bees. So the ultraviolet colours is what he's planted. So you're talking about lavender and lilac and Russian sage and Nepeta, which is catmint. There's loads of that around there. So loads of purples at this time of year. Purples and violets and lilacs, all the same colours, isn't it? Similar. I'm not a painter. I usually come in here because this is a real contrast to the formal rose garden that we've just left. But this is quite a contemporary garden. Mary Reynolds did this now. This design came out of the Kew Gardens. She was on the back of winning the gold medal in Chelsea. They asked the gold medal winners to come up with another design for it. And like a lot of people donated materials or their services because it was for a good cause and the special needs unit that we have here.
Yes.
So you'll see this was based. It's called the Stolen Child Garden, and that's based on a poem by Yeats, which was written around 1910, around that time, and it was around the middle of the Celtic Revival. So you'll see some of the poem on the ground. You'll see standing stones in the back here, which is that's a real sign of the Celtic symbolism. And so, come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild, with a fare thee hand in hand. The world is more full of weeping than you will understand, or something like that. So here we are, the big standing stones. And it's all native Irish plants that were all brought up from West Cork. A company down there called Future Forests. And it's actually come alive now this time of year because it's all native Irish plants and everything it's had plenty of rain now in the last week and a bit of sun, and you can just feel the energy in the garden. And there's standing stones, and in the back here we have the Stolen Child. So I was saying there recently, I got a great kick of watching a couple with their blind child, and they had the child's hands, and they were getting the child to feel the hand. That's her face over there, and that's her feet. She's made out of cement. And I actually made this about 20 years ago, but I've gone back over to make it more sturdy, because what happens is kids climb on it. The light gets blocked from the trees, and the grass doesn't grow as well. And sometimes, last year we had badgers. Yeah, we picked it up in the cameras at night. There's cameras over there.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, so like it's bright here at 4 in the morning, like, so it goes back to, we don't come in till 9, so there's everything running around in here, you know.
I can imagine, yeah. I mean, it's a real oasis, isn't it?
So you picked up the face anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can you actually get most of the body in? You can.
Yes.
And the feet and all, yeah.
Not the feet, no.
Yeah,
haven't done that yet.
She's looking well. She's a nice head of hair at the moment.
You look after her well.
So I got the idea. I got the idea for the coloured cement from being down in West Cork at Jeremy Irons Castle, and he has a lovely ochre coloured castle that just illuminates the bay down near Skull, and it's a company in Carlow supplies the pigment. So I've been working with that now for the last year or two. Yeah, and less of the limestone. Yeah.
Is it a paint or is it an actual?
It actually mixes with the cement. So it's in the cement.
Okay. Yeah.
But now it does fade as well. So I'm experimenting a bit.
Mind you, it's well concealed here, isn't it? It's well covered.
This garden?
Yeah, it wouldn't get much direct sunlight, would it?
No. And so on a hot day, it's a lovely place to come in and just to get away from the heat, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's very tranquil. It's my favourite place in the garden, actually. There's actually another little path around the back and a seat in the corner. And in the poem it mentions a lake and an island in it, so that's why that's a little island in there. You can see more sculptures peeking out over there, and there's another sculpture behind that, it's like a fox or a wolf. That's what's nice about this. As I said, you're in one room stroke garden, and then you get a glimpse of something just beyond, and it makes you want to explore. Yeah. So it appeals to all ages. Like, you know, kids like love to find out what's around the corner. Grannies, they're into the gardens, and they don't have to walk too far either. Like, you know,
that's all flat.
It's all flat, really, and like it's all wheelchair accessible. Yes. Yeah. So the story goes that she headed off to London. She didn't have much money, and she went over there with a bunch of hippies from West Cork, and she's a bit of a hippie herself. Mary would tell you that herself. That's why she's big into wood nymphs and fairies and stuff like that. And she, and they built all these structures like arches and then fire on top of the ponds but they're all the same plants you get in any woodland in Ireland, you know. Yeah. But trying to make it look natural it's the hard bit, yeah.
Yes.
Geez, they are getting big, aren't they, the trees? My God. It's hard to believe it's only 20 years old, this garden, you know that?
Oh, it's 20, is it?
That's all.
Oh, right.
Well, yeah.
Gosh.
2005, really, a lot of these things were put in. Yeah. It's a shame, though, the waterfall is not working today.
Yes.
We were here yesterday, we had to take out and put in 3 different pumps. But that's a day in the life of someone who works in a garden. Like, it's
never ending.
It never stops.
Never ending.
Yeah. If it's not someone falling into the pond, it's a heron trying to take your fish. So you can see I don't know, do you want to get the koi or?
Yeah.
You probably wonder why we have the nets. It's because it's to keep the herons.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a few cheeky ones recently, and they had no problem walking on the net.
Would they?
Yeah.
But you're only covering a certain part. But do the fish sort of take refuge then? Do they?
Well, they usually don't. They usually like to walk in from the edge.
Okay.
So if you can find out where they're walking in from, like, it usually deters them. Now, occasionally you get a crazy guy that will land in the middle. But again, it's all rubber liners that's keeping the water in, and lots of maintenance. And down here you'll see another heron. So this was a big block of limestone, and I probably would have left big chunks of limestone here just so that I could pick it up with a digger, put it into place. There's not much. There's only about that much stone there underneath it. and then just cut away then afterwards when I have it cemented in place. An easy enough one to do. Well,
How long would that take?
within reason. I don't know, it's probably about 6 weeks of it. Yeah. But again, I was saying to you, the sculptures are created just for the spaces like themselves. Like
I love that over there.
that garden.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Martin designed that one now. Yeah, he was the guy who laid out the main avenue. Like, and
Yes.
he'd have dozens of projects in England now, big 500-acre jobs, you know.
Would we go across to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does this look a lot different now than the last time you were down now?
Quite a bit.
Yeah. It's kind of lush, isn't it, at
Yes.
the moment? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Now you can look at it through a window here and maybe take a shot at the piano. Or you can just, there's no harm, is there?
I was very tempted to play that the last time.
Oh, was that there? Yeah. So this garden's in bloom, as you said. And it's not that big actually, it's just quite deceptive. He's used all sorts of devices to break up the space, yeah.
And is there a mirror at the end?
Well, that's the big secret.
Ah, okay. So we won't
There
say.
is, yeah, there's a mirror,
Yeah.
yeah. Still 3 arches though in it, yeah. And it's only, as I said, as the summer goes on, a lot of the stuff will grow over and join up.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stunning.
It's very much a show garden, yeah. So this is the Iris O'Brien garden, designed by Paul Martin. Iris O'Brien, I think, is it's Dennis O'Brien's relations. I don't know which one now.
Okay.
So he was very supportive of special needs. He was heavily involved with the Special Olympics.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So just go through this again. Oh, we can see ourselves at the end.
Yeah.
Hello.
So I said the idea is that you set up a barbecue and then you get your friends over and entertain them. I remember cooking burgers for the crew of Gardener's World here a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were they here long? Were they over a few days, or was it just one
They were
day?
just there for a few hours. They were going through. They were giving talks in different gardens around the town. I only live about a mile up the road, you know,
Yes.
and it was a great place to rear our kids. Carlow was, and it was close to Dublin, so we were always near the art galleries, and we used to go up there on once or twice a week. And Cork was down the other direction. Bridget being from Cork, and so we have studios at the back of the house as well. So I make work there as well, and I make work for people outside the Delta as well.
Yes.
And even at the moment, I make sculptures for people's gardens, you know.
And how do you get the stone into your back garden?
I'm working in cement mainly at the moment.
Cement. Okay.
But I used to be quite a strong young fella. I used to be able to carry large lumps of stone up to a certain region. You'd use trolleys and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I have a glass making setup in my workshop, yeah, which I don't make an awful lot of. I got lots of barrels of glass out of Waterford Crystal before they closed. Yeah.
Oh, right.
So loads of that in the backyard, which you can melt into glass casting. It's like bronze casting. You know, you have molds, you melt out the lost wax process.
Yeah.
And then you can put the chunks of glass on top and put it into a kiln, and it falls into negative shape. Cool it down over 3 days.
Yes.
Break open the mold, rough glass, start polishing with diamonds, and I'll send you photos of them afterwards. Yeah. So that was my training at NCAD back in the. I went back after the restaurant.
Yeah. But were you born in Canada?
I was born in Boston.
You were born in Boston?
Yeah, my father's American and my mother was from Mayo. Yeah.
All right. Where did I get Canada from?
And my son lives in Canada. I'm going there. I'm going there on Tuesday.
That's right. Yes, I knew
the Rocky Mountains.
I knew there was some connection.
What is your preferred material to work with?
At the moment, it changes. I do like limestone, but I'm having great fun at the moment with the coloured cement,
Yes.
and it's a lot of freedom in it. And I'm also anxious to I think there's a lot of room for experimentation. But see, the stone is, as I said, it's noisy and dusty, and you need all the gear, and you can't be annoying people really. If I lived out on a farm, it was grand out there when this was a building site. you know, it didn't matter as much really. You know, I could tear away there all day long with consoles and all that. And but now it's just a tranquil, quiet place. I couldn't be doing it. And even over beside my workshop now, it's all lovely. They're growing away and it's nicely manicured and everything like that, you know. So I won't bring you over there. It's an awful mess. It's just buckets and dirt and, you know, so there. But I had a lovely setup there originally. So for about 20 years, I used to have canopies and everything, and I would have had stacks of pallets and I had different pieces I'd be working on.
Yes.
And, yeah, as I said, I've made pieces for the council as well here as well. There's the biggest cross in the cemetery. I made it over there as well.
Did you?
I'll send you on a photo.
People come and see your work here and then contact you.
Yeah. Only ask, yeah.
You give an idea.
You give a tour,
Yeah.
and then people say, "Would you be interested in making a piece for me?" And
Yeah.
that happens all the time. You know,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
like it's not that often you'd actually be getting a tour from an artist and then you know, and just chatting to them as well. Like, oh yeah, I just wanted to say one other thing.
Yeah.
As I said, I when we came back from America, like I was in the Navy. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Let me tell
I
you.
wasn't there.
Let me tell you my story.
Tell me.
I'll tell you my story. You can edit it afterwards.
Yeah.
So I joined the Navy in 1976. I wanted to go to art college originally, and didn't I miss the dates for the portfolios? Because you have to have the portfolio in a couple of months in advance of the leaving cert. And then I wasn't sure.
But sorry, can we go back? You were born in Boston.
I was, and I grew up in Dublin.
Did you? Okay, so what age were you when you came back, or came over?
What age? I was a baby. I was about 1. My parents divorced. Yeah.
Yes.
And they both remarried subsequently. But
but
I lived in different parts of Dublin. So my mother was a divorcee. And at a time in the 60s when it wasn't very popular. But she managed. She was fair play to her. And she's still alive. She's 90 years of age. And she's a tough Mayo woman.
Yeah.
But I only had dinner with her the other day.
Yeah.
So we moved to Meath. And then about 1976 I went off to Cork and joined the Navy. And I was doing radio there for 2 years. Then I got an apprenticeship. I was used to work in the engine room. I was a diesel mechanic. And I met my wife there in Bantry. Our ship was at anchor one time. The famous artist Bridget Flannery, in case people don't know, from Cork. And she swept me off my feet.
Yeah. Lovely.
And we went to America in '87. We had our first child in '91. We came back around late '91. We had got a brainwave to open a wine bar, tapas bar. But as I said, we were ahead of our time. And then a couple of years later, we were struggling, and it made sense to shut down the restaurant. And
was Bridget working in the restaurant as well?
She helped out as well. Yeah,
Yes,
we would have had a lot of artists now putting their work on the wall, and we tried hard. We had our poetry readings and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know why it didn't work, but I still can't figure it out. But it turned out to be the best thing that happened, because I went back to art college, and something I always wanted to do. So I kind of. Oh yeah, it's something it's only dawned on me years later why I actually went to art college. Is that when I went to school in Capel Street, it was Strand Street actually. It was Christian Brothers.
Yes.
And most of the kids there were from around that area, Smithfield and all that area. It was a real Dublin one, and there's not many schools in Dublin one. But they used to throw you out for at least an hour, if not an hour and a half, at lunchtime. Now I was only a young fella, and I spent all my time in art galleries because they were warm. And you got to remember, there was no tourists in Ireland in those days. You remember the quays? They were all full of run-down buildings, derelicts, and old bookshops and everything. You know, Dublin was a mess.
And antique shops.
Yeah, but you go into the art galleries like the Hugh Lane, which I go into every Sunday morning, and the National Gallery, to be one guy asleep in the corner, and that'd be the attendant, and And I used to go up to Trinity College, the long library. I say you can nearly go in there and turn the pages on the Book of Kells because there was so few people around.
You wouldn't do that now.
Yeah. And it was a different. And I reckon it rubbed off of me, spending so much time looking at art every day.
Yes.
And kind of came back to me. And Yeats, and looking at all those lovely pieces. So anyway, I went back to roll on so many years later. I went to NCAD, did the portfolio. There was people like Tafina Flood did it with me. Yeah, and Mick O'D was there. I did Core, the '94, I think it was.
Yes.
And they wanted me to do. I thought I wanted to be a painter, but they said, no, you're definitely a maker. So I wanted to come out with a skill, so I went into the craft side of things, and I kind of did a lot of sculptures. Like I wasn't just doing jewellery. And there was a stone yard there that nobody was using. You got to remember, like everybody was into videos, and actually went down to the sculpture department to be nobody there. I don't know where they were. They were all taking photos or something like that. And it was the best materials and tools there. And I taught myself stone carving. And there was a guy from Crow's Monument Works up the road in Thomas Street. They came in and showed me the basics and the tools and all that. That's how I got into the stones. And here I'm still doing it. Yeah. And there was best of marble and all the.
So you had it to yourself?
Yeah. I just left rip and angle grinders and everything.
Brilliant.
There. Yeah. And in those days, you could just wander to school, you know.
Yeah.
And come back as a mature student in my 30s.
Or would you been in Kildare Street at that point? Or
I did the portfolio course in Kildare Street, but
yes.
we were in Thomas Street.
Thomas Street.
You know, it's an old distillery there.
Yeah.
But going back as a mature student, like I was working for 18 years at that stage. You know, I had been out in the world. You know,
yes.
I was like what would you call it, a toy shop? You know,
Yeah.
You can having fun. You know,
Yes. Kid in a sweet shop.
A kid in a sweet shop. You know, and children then started coming along while I was in college, and it was just a lot of support as well. I could manage fine. Bridget would sell the odd painting here and there. You know,
Yes.
we managed. You know,
Yeah.
I know people say it costs 100,000 to have a child and all, but it doesn't really. You know,
It used to be 50.
50 is it?
It used to be. That's probably
The
quarter
inflation,
million
is it?
Yeah.
And we managed. We were ever kids, and I became an artist then as well. And I said I only live up the road, and
Yeah.
Bridget was painting away there. Yeah.
Can I ask you, Bob, when Bridget passed, how has your life changed? Because I think maybe you were looking at retirement and decided not to or something. Or is that true?
It is true. I was meant to retire, and they changed the rules. And
Yes.
thank God I didn't retire, because this is my focus every day. Yeah.
And you love it?
Yeah, and it's very good for your mental health. My buddies are all here. We talk about football. We talk about anything other than art.
Yes.
And
yes.
I get to play with buckets of cement, and it's so good. And it's the buzzword, isn't it? Mental health these days, isn't it?
It is.
You know, yeah, and sure. Look, that's what this. You're meant to come in here and smell the flowers, and literally, and have nice, positive chats with people. There's no customers giving out to you, or anybody looking for money, or
Yes.
and you can see people that are a lot worse off than you, in wheelchairs, and but a lot to be grateful for. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
So we're into the woodland garden now. This is a bit like the Mary Reynolds garden. It's all native Irish plants, and again, it's in its prime actually at the moment, and I have great fun here.
After we looked at that was fantastic.
Was it like that? Was it? Because originally it was a man just standing there, and
Yeah, I
I got
think
it a
that
bit
was
boring. And I had a bull's head over the first side. What did I do with it? And then I cut off the head. I cut off the head of the man and stuck the bull's head on it. But then it looked very scary. It looked like the devil, you know.
Yeah, it looks like a watcher.
And I said, I better tone this down, and so I put him in a dress and earrings and a handbag, and. Again, you can really see the coloured cement. The blue looks lovely, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. And you can see the trail up there where people run up getting their photographs taken. Again, I love this interaction thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. You know, there must be loads of photos of people like this, you know. And it's cement, so one of the advantages of working in cement is that when you're modelling something, it's actually finished. Like, if you were modelling something for a bronze casting or whatever, you model it, and then you have to take the mould off that, and then you have to go in and then pour it into it. Whereas if you do it straight, if you do the modelling straight into the cement, that's it. It's finished. You know.
Yes.
You get this one of now. It's probably considered an inferior material by a lot of people because it's so common on houses and stuff like that. You
But
know?
is it not more of a question of durability? How long it actually lasts, or does it last
It
for a long
should
time?
last. I can't say. You might. I don't know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It should. I mean, cement lasts fine out in the,
That's true.
on the footpaths.
That's true.
Occasionally, you might get a crack if there's something underneath, but it's not expensive anyway. It's easy to repair. That's
fabulous.
That's the thing. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a bear there beside you as well.
Yeah.
again, I made this like so the people could sit on it, and everybody has a camera nowadays. You know,
Yes,
and the kids
selfies.
can sit there and like. So I made this like with people's phones in mind, like, so they can get photo opportunities. You know.
Yeah.
It's the way things go. And sometimes at Christmas we set up things around the garden so people can get nice photo ops, do things with lights so they can frame themselves and stuff like
very
that.
good,
You know,
yeah.
So things like this would be left over from treasure hunts. We have treasure hunts there in Easter or whatever.
Yes.
So kids would be going, come on over here, there's more. Look at the bird sitting on the rabbit.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
That's great, yeah.
and there's a wolf stroke fox. Yeah. Again, the kids are all running up to it. So a lot of the winter, this is what's it, winter rose. What's another name for winter rose?
They're great.
Pat, another name for winter. What's the real name for winter rose?
What?
The winter rose. What's the real name?
Sarah-Coca.
No, these lads.
Hellebores.
Hellebores.
Yes.
Winter rose is another name for them, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hellebores, yeah.
Pat has been here as long as I have.
Hi, Pat, how are you?
You'll hear his voice in the audio tour. Yeah.
Very good.
He's a published poet as well. He is.
So you know all these Latin names that no one can remember.
I can't remember them myself, unfortunately. I'm like that every day.
I know, yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So they're doing
Thanks,
a piece
Pat.
for the art as well. You know. I don't.
Lovely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. But people love it.
yeah.
Oh, yes, I'd say,
Yeah.
I love the Stone and Child Garden. I think it's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
On a hot day, you'd be looking for somewhere to hide. Yeah.
It is, and it also, the noise level goes down the minute you walk into that garden.
That's true. Yeah. It's an atmospheric thing, isn't it? Yeah. All right.
thanks a lot.
So there's a. So this will be typical now. You see the rock there now.
Yes.
So I have plans for that now. So
Have you?
I'll drill holes in that now, and I was going to put a rabbit in a yoga pose. There's a lovely flower on there, and yeah, my brain is gone as well. They're more of a January, February type of a plant. Yeah, you actually get nice smells off them. Yeah. So when we got this structure from Chelsea, originally there was timber underneath it, and there was water both sides of you. But because we have a lot of wheelchairs around here, it was just a little bit dangerous. So, and the timber rotted, so we replaced it with cement, and I made this. It's a fernery here as well, so that just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Put something in there. It's a lovely shape, a coiled fern, isn't it?
Beautiful shape, yeah.
Yeah.
I love ferns.
You know, is there a name for a fern that hasn't opened up yet?
Frond?
Sounds right. Yeah.
It's a frond. Isn't it a frond before it
Before
comes
it
out?
opens, is it?
I think so.
Ask a gardener, will you?
Ask a real gardener.
Ask Google. Okay, we can go in there and we can go in there.
Yeah, okay.
So we have loads of newts in here. We have and a lot of tadpoles and frogs.
Now this is amazing.
Okay, I would have done a lot of the stonework in here. So I would have done paving. I would have, because it's the 5 senses garden. So these tablets represent the different senses. So there's the birds whistling, ear, music. That's a tongue and bunch of grapes, because those plants there are all edible plants. So you have berries and apples and plums and herbs, and over there you have 2 fingers touching. Michelangelo robbed that idea from me.
He did?
And that's all sensory plants in there, and scented area in there. My favourite place to have a cup of coffee in the evening. And sight is the other one. And this marble ball floating around here is actually a ton weight, and it's actually floating on water. And if I switch it off, it'll actually drop. You probably heard a noise there.
Yeah.
Now 20 lads couldn't push that now.
Really?
And so there it is. It's there's a hole that size inside in the dish, and once it lifts, the pump can lift a mile of water, but the flow, and you can't compress water. The dish and the ball are the exact same shape, so about 1 millimetre of water, it's just sliding around on it. Biggest one in the world is about 50 tonne. It's in Thailand or somewhere. Imagine what size that is. Same principle. So this is called a Kugel, which is a German word for ball. That's the nice thing about it. Like, I'm not working on art all the time. Is that there's a nice mix as well. Like, I'd say if you talk to artists in their studios, which you do, they don't spend all day long painting or whatever. They'll probably spend a lot of time in the gardens. Actually, that's another thing you notice about artists is they love gardens.
That's true.
And there is that symbiotic thing, and they like food as well, probably, and drink. But a lot of artists respond to nature. They look for inspiration. Who inspired me back in the 90s was a guy called Peter Randall Page. He's an English stone carver, and again he works with lots of big pieces of seeds and and stone and stuff like that. Brancusi, those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you build all those walls?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's stunning.
See, I was learning as well. I hadn't a clue how to build walls when I started here either. But I remember putting the metal cladding was all the rage there 20 years ago on garden design, you know. We picked up, you know, I suppose gardens get dated too, don't they? Like what was trendy, you know. You go to Bloom now or Chelsea, and I don't know what's the certain colours or certain stones or whatever all the rage, you know. Yeah. So originally this garden had a different design. It had a path up the middle, and there was no writing on the sculpture. And it was there's lots of bamboo, so it had an oriental feel. It was actually called the Hubai Garden, and it just got out of control. And we changed things around and put in there was grants. There was money going in 2016 for the commemoration of 1916, and I think the pond has a dye in it, so that's about reflection. This is meant to be the flame of freedom, and so that's, and as I said, originally it would have had a path up the middle. There's a couple of seats over there that have a couple of verses of poetry from around that time, and and then every February crocuses come up here. Hundreds of crocuses come up. They were planted in the simple garden, but that's it. There's one last garden. Okay, Alan. This is one of my favourite gardens. I'm talking very quick now. Because it's so simple, but it's just the plants are so interesting, and it's full of climbers. The pillars were made from recycled bricks that the local brick factory gave us, and there's one vine comes up on one of the columns, and it manages to cover the whole canopy. And in the autumn, these go bright red, and there must be 2 feet diameter. You have a fig tree in the corner with a lovely honeysuckle, and then you have 3 raised beds with really interesting plants. You have curry plants, tomatoes. You can make tea out of almost any plant in there. So you have sage with lovely colours, rosemaries, oreganos, mints. So I'm going to wrap up now, and thanks for having a look at this. And thanks to Alan and Trina, and we're open 7 days a week, and weekends starts at 11, but during the week it's 9 to 5, and we're open. The only 2 weeks we don't open is at Christmas, just after Christmas. We do actually open for Christmas, and it's definitely a sensory experience. We're only 50 minutes from the Red Cow. We'll be here to answer questions. We're the people who built the gardens, and we're very proud of it. And it's not just for people with special needs. Gardeners, anybody who wants a sensory experience, and it's good for mental health, and it's good for just a general well-being. And anybody who likes to go for a walk in the Phoenix Park or anywhere will appreciate coming down here. And there's loads of other gardens. Look up Carlow Tourism, look up the Carlow Garden Trail, and you'll see there's enough to keep you going for a few days anyway. And Visual is just around the corner as well, which a lot of people don't know about either. Biggest art gallery in the country. Okay.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Bob.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.